Our film starts with a guy about to get executed. He tells the executioner to take the hood off of him so he can see the bullet that gets him. As he gets shot, we see that it was just a dream. He heads over to a kid that was playing with his gun and punches them in the face. A lot is going on in the background as the town is preparing for a hanging in the town square. In the square, a religious couple tries to pass out prayer sheets to the people waiting. We find out the old man's name is Ambrose Bierce, and he's looking for someone named Pancho Villa. A shopkeeper tells him to head to a stagecoach, but where he's going is rough and a lot of people go missing. Bierce doesn't seem to care. It's now time for the hanging. The prisoner's name is Madrid, and the hangman talks a lot of garbage toward him before punching him since Madrid isn't intimidated. A young girl calls the hangman out for his cruelty, leading to him having her brought up and whipping her as well. We then find out via Madrid trying to get him to stop that the young girl is actually the hangman's daughter, Esmeralda. Hey, what a coincidence, that's the movie's subtitle. I bet she's important. Back to the hanging, we see that the kid from earlier is on a perch with a rifle and shoots the rope, freeing Madrid. Madrid fights his way out of the crowd and a shootout ensues. As Madrid rides off, he grabs Esmeralda and takes her with him. The hangman shoots their direction and misses. When the others try to convince him to stop shooting because his daughter could get hit, he said he'd rather see her dead than go off with Madrid. In the stagecoach, Bierce is with a religious couple. They attempt to talk religion with him, but he retorts with some pretty funny sarcasm. In fact, Bierce so far is an anti-hero and every scene with his character is entertaining. We can only hope to one day be as unbothered by life as this guy is. In his defense, the religious couple are annoying though, especially with the religious woman's hard R mispronunciation of Tierra Negra. We then head to Madrid and Esmeralda as she tries to get in Madrid's good graces. She, who is clearly used to being abused, tells Madrid he can hit her if he wants, but he instead puts ointment on her wounds, which she looks really into. We learn she was raised by her a-hole abuser father after her mother died in childbirth. Madrid agrees to take her to Tierra Negra for her to start a new life. Meanwhile, we see that her father is looking for her and puts a bounty on finding her alive. Back in the middle of nowhere, Madrid's crew brings in the kid from earlier. We find out that the kid is a female named Reese, and she tells him she was the one who saved him. When they try to get rid of her, she rats out Bierce, now making him their target. Speaking of Bierce, he's still having his weird dreams visions while the religious woman continues to nag him for drinking too much, and he continues to respond with sarcasm. He then insinuates that the guy only married the prudish woman because she was rich, which the guy gets offended by. Side note, the religious couple here are John and Mary Newley. It's hard for me to not notice how much the True Blood characters Steve and Sarah Newland mirror them. Anyway, the outlaws go to rob the stagecoach. When they finally get a hold of it, the only thing they find is the couple's luggage, Bibles, and liquor. By the way, now Mrs. Newland knows how to pronounce Tierra Negra. Bierce asks the outlaws to kill him, and Madrid refuses, calling Bierce honorable, and takes off. After they do, Bierce and Mr. Newland get into it for putting his wife in danger, though Mrs. Newley goes to Bierce's aid. Back with Madrid, Reese is getting really annoying, talking about how she wants to be an outlaw and monster like Madrid. You can clearly see that Madrid does what he does out of survival, while he sees Reese as some entitled gringo looking for clout. He takes her to a cemetery and ties her to a tree, talking about teaching her fear. Then when she shows fear, he talks down to her. He shoots the tombstone out from under her and leaves her to hang before chasing after Esmeralda, who took off after seeing how they're treating Greece. After the stagecoach breaks down, Bierce and the Neweys walk through the desert and find an old bar. When they walk in, no one is around, but then Machete magically appears and tells them they're closed. The crew asks for a room for the night, and the Neweys embarrassingly ask for milk at the bar. Bierce is happy to hear all they have is tequila. In the desert, Madrid eventually catches up to Esmeralda, where her daddy issues come back, stating she's afraid if she says the wrong thing, he'll treat her like he treated Reese. He apologizes and assures her he actually likes her, and she responds by kissing him. Well, that didn't take too much. I guess she hasn't heard those words, so it's a turn on. At the bar, the Neweys try the tequila as the place begins to fill with attractive women. A sexy cougar named Kixla then tells the Neweys she'll show them their room. Back at the cemetery, the search crew led by Esmeralda's dad find Reese and cut her down. Looks like she's going to help them find Madrid. At the bar, it's now filled with very interesting characters. Bierce is nice enough to pay for a brush salesman's drink when he can't afford to pay. Meanwhile, we learn that this place isn't a hotel, it's a brothel, as the Neweys walk by lots of rooms of people getting it on, which Mr. Newley seems intrigued by. Once they get in the room, John tries to actually have sex with his wife, which she turns down. You then find out they've never actually had sex as she's more interested in Bible stuff. When he tries to force it again, a bat gets in their way. Mary then tells John to go away and get some water. Poor guy, married to the Noxzema girl and can't get any. That'd be rough. He heads down the hall having some peekaboo time with the other rooms of people having sex. Kickslet catches him and seduces him, and I no longer feel bad for him because, good God, a 48-year-old Sonia Braga puts Noxzema girl to shame. The film takes a break to show us all the sinful stuff going on while Bierce hangs out with the salesperson. Through this conversation, we find out that Bierce is a famous author. We then see John Newley, fresh off of finally getting laid, go to the bar and order tequila, which the bartender notices his much more happy demeanor. Madrid and Esmeralda then arrive at the bar, and Madrid suggests they stop there as it's dark. A weird guy tells them he'll take care of their horses, but Madrid doesn't trust him, so he sends her inside while he checks on them. Once she gets inside, Kickslet confronts Esmeralda and asks about her scars. She then licks the blood off her back, then starts caressing Esmeralda. Esmeralda then gets confused when Kickslet tells her she knows she's never felt a mother's love and even knows her name already. We then see that Madrid caught the guy who took their horses feeding on one of them. He then shoots the guy. Back with Mary, she wakes up looking for John. As she walks down the hall, she sees one of the prostitutes wearing her wedding dress. Then one of the bandits from earlier takes her. Madrid walks in, demanding someone tell him where Esmeralda is, but doesn't get an answer as the bartender doesn't want to say anything, and everyone else is drunk. John then sees one of the bandits with his and his wife's clothes on. He asks the bartender what the fighting policy is, and when he's told there isn't one, goes all roadhouse on the bandits. Madrid eventually finds Esmeralda with Kickslet, and when Kickslet doesn't want her to go, he shoots her. Back at the bar, as the fighting gets super bloody, you start to see the prostitute's demeanor change, and they begin licking the blood being splattered. As Madrid and Esmeralda go to leave, Esmeralda's dad and his search party push their way in, and another shootout breaks out. That stops when Kickslet shows up using her creepy voice, telling us what you should have figured out by now, and that Kickslet is Esmeralda's mom. Esmeralda's dad shoots her because exes, am I right? But then everyone starts fanging out, and it's a sexy fanged woman battle royal from here. The best part of this is my guy Bierce is way too drunk to care about anything that's going on around him. John Newley, instead of trying to save Mary, gets distracted by seeing the outlaw he was fighting again, resulting in the brush salesman, who is now a vampire, having a weird sepia-toned dance scene with her before biting her. Reese then finds a door they can escape through, so all the survivors head down and barricade the door. As all the survivors then go back to fighting each other, Bierce becomes the voice of reason. Just like I thought, the real hero is liquored up old drunk, as it should be. Eventually the vampires break through the door, and they take off down a damp corridor where they deal with the vampires in bat mode. Back at the bar, we see Kickslet not looking so hot, waking up. She regurgitates blood into the mouth of the brush salesman, as apparently Esmeralda is a chosen one. Side note, I still would. The survivors find a gate in the corridor, but when they shut it, John hears Mary's voice. She then appears from the darkness. She gives him a guilt trip about leaving her before she fangs out and starts taunting him about his faking being religious. Damn, even as a hot vampire, she nags. Bierce tells John to quit listening and just kill her, but he can't bring himself to do it, probably since that corset is the closest he's gotten to seeing her naked. She exposes that Bierce was right about John all along when she spits acid or whatever at him, and he drops a case showing that he has been stealing money from her and hiding it. She attacks him with, I think, her intestines, but he's eventually saved by Madrid. He then impales her with a machete, and she bursts into flames. Madrid then asks if anyone else has been bitten. Everyone says no, but then we see that the bandit was bitten while getting some in the back. When the crew get to a fork in the tunnel, Bierce has them split up into trusted groups. We then find out through Bierce's group that Reese is a nut job who killed her family in the US and was hiding in Mexico from the law. As Madrid's crew go their way, the bandit who was bit, Joaquin, begins to turn. He then ambushes and bites John before he's impaled by Madrid. Madrid then impales John before he can turn. The two sides meet up where Madrid and Esmeralda explain what happened to Joaquin and John. We then see they just went in circles and the vampires catch them. Kickslet takes Esmeralda to meet Grandma, who is pretty gross looking. Those Latinas, I swear, the first 800 years they are hot, but after that, gross. Anyway, the rest of the crew get hung upside down, and Esmeralda's dad explains that she was destined to become the vampire queen, and that's why he was so tough on her, as he even tried killing her, and she always came back. So keeping her in check was his only course of action. Then we hear it. The result of the ceremony is Esmeralda becoming Santanico Pandemonium. That's right, that's Santanico Pandemonium. Despite this film being called From Dusk Till Dawn 3, it's actually a prequel giving Selma Hayek's character an origin story. My question is, though, why is the brush salesman who's been a vampire for 5 minutes all of a sudden in a leadership role? The survivors eventually escape from their chains and take on the vampires. All but Bierce, the Hangman, and Madrid get off before Esmeralda completes the ceremony. We do get a funny moment where Madrid, with his knife boots, kicks a vampire in the testicles. Anyway, Santanico then shows up half naked and uncomfortably for the viewer, makes out with her dad, then bites him. As Madrid and Bierce try to leave, Santanico turns back into Esmeralda to try to convince Madrid to stay. Her father, now a vampire, uses this moment to open the door and let the two out, then shuts the spikes on Kixla as she tries to chase after them, forcing her into the sun, causing her to explode. Even as a vampire, he's kept his grudge with his ex. I respect that. The film ends with Santanico screaming out the door for Madrid not to leave her. He does anyway, though I'm thinking not because of the vampire thing, but because of the whole weird incest. I mean, who wants to live with that for eternity? Him and Bierce then decide to stick together on their journey to Tierra Negra, and that is how you do a prequel. It gave us everything the original had, changed it to a Western theme, and was a lot more rated R, being that it was a straight to VHS, meaning it could get away with more. This film is the only acceptable origin story for Santanico to me, meaning ignoring the oversimplification of a girl being chased by natives, falling into a pit, and deep-throating a snake origin story the TV show gave us. But how did you feel? Did you like this version of the TV show's version? Or did you even know this movie existed? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. If you like these recaps, please leave a like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to know every time I update. There is now an option to be a channel member where you'll get access to exclusive recaps from late-night vampire catalogs like Showtime, Cinemax After Dark, USA Up All Night, and much more. If you want to help my channel grow, please check out my Patreon, where members can get exclusive content that can't be uploaded on YouTube, along with download options. Link is in the description.